Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. It's not actually, it's been a day. So, thank you all so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about these pair which, wow, okay. I've talked about them so many times before, and you're probably thinking, oh, not again. What have they been up to? Why does he have to keep going on about them all the time? But there's a reason. They get under my skin. They really do. I mean, I don't like being riled up, but these two do it. I don't know if they're trolling. I suspect they're not. They're just sad and lonely, and they have nothing better to do in their lives than to spew this shit, right? But it is something worthwhile talking about because some people believe in it, and some people hang off their every word. And the other reason is because it's just too, not funny, it's just something to mull over. Maybe you want this type of parenting to be the thing. So let's get into it. This is Ruby Franke, formerly known as Ruby Franke from 8 Passengers, and her sidekick Jodi Hildebrandt, who is less well known but equally, if not more, odd. So let's get into it. They're talking about privacy today, and this is not something new. Well, it's something new, but it's not something new that they've talked about. This is let's just get into it. It's just too insane.
Welcome to Connections. Thank you for joining us. We're going to talk about privacy. And I was amazed, I know you were too, when Ruby answered a question about privacy. Should a child be allotted privacy? And for many people who have raised responsible, honest, humble children, it's really clear that no, there is no privacy. Privacy is not a principle.
Right, not to throw a quick spanner in your works there, Jodi, but I was raised with a certain level of privacy in my life, and I am quite honest, responsible, and humble. I think. I hope so, anyway. But, you know, just to throw that in there, because I think that might debunk you already.
That way, for a child. A child is in the process, is in a movement of growing and developing and becoming and learning and practicing skills of truth, quite frankly. That is what we're supposed to be guiding a child to do.
Thank you for bringing in the fact that privacy is not a principle of growth and development. I know parents, they want their children to grow and develop and become mature adults. And you may not hear this anywhere else, but privacy is not requisite for that. In fact, a lot of children want their privacy, not all, a lot, as a hiding place.
Ruby, though, hasn't at least one of your kids disowned you? At least one that we know of. Possibly 2. So I'm not quite sure you're entirely the one that has the authority on the subject of privacy and everything, when your main issue was privacy, taking away privacy and stuff like that, and those said children no longer talk to you. So, you know, did that work out for you, Ruby? Did it really?
And a lot of parents give privacy, and really it's neglect. They don't know where their kids are. They don't know what their kids are doing. They don't know what their kids, who they're hanging out with, what they're listening to, what they're saying.
And they want their kids to be happy with them and not have conflict.
Yeah,
So
they want the kids
grant
to like them.
Yeah.
See, I think you're getting mixed up a little bit here, because the things that you mentioned about not knowing where your kids are and what they're doing and everything like that, you can give them that privacy to do those things, as long as you know. If you know where your kids are, who they're hanging around with, where they're going, that's fine. That's not being invasive of their privacy. That's a fine thing to know about your child. But if you were to go along with wherever your child was, say your child was going out with their friends and you were to tag along, that would be an invasion of privacy. So you see where you can have a middle ground here.
They grant them what they call privacy.
We just did 2 videos, one on safety and one on trust. And these are the 2 principles. Well, trust is the principle that is manipulated often in this conversation of privacy. Well, don't you want parents to trust the child? Shouldn't the child trust the parent? If I'm the child and my parent reads my journal, or if I'm the child and my parent comes in and goes through my drawers, then I can't trust my parent anymore.
It's that transaction we were talking about. If you do this, then I'm going to do this. If you don't give me what I want, then I'm going to not give you what you want.
Yeah, and if you show up in a way that holds me accountable for something that I want to keep secret, private, then I'm going to not trust you, instead of looking at what really trust is all about and what constructs make trust. So that is what this video is going to be about.
And let me just also add another piece. When you're parenting a child and when a child is being reared, the focus of rearing a child is to invite them to learn principles so that as they become an adult, they become physiologically an adult, they become spiritually an adult, which means mature and present and centered in truth. That's what becoming an adult in our language means. And when a person becomes that, there is no need to hide things from people. You can boundary things and say, that's private, but it's not a hiding place. You're not afraid. So if my spouse goes through my drawers, I'm not saying to him or her, hey, don't go through my stuff, because everything in my life is open to that person who I've let that close into my world. And if I say, you know what, I'd like to have this shelf where I just put my things, and I'd appreciate you not going through it. It's not because I'm hiding something there. It's not because there's some secret there. It's because I've put a boundary there that says, I don't want this touched.
What? See, Jodi, you've said that kids are not allowed to do that, right? If kids are hiding something, if they have privacy, if they have a journal and they are hiding something, it's because they're hiding something from you. And that needs to be investigated further, because they can't hide things from you, because otherwise it is bad. But when you do it, it's because you're creating a boundary, and people aren't allowed inside your boundaries. But do you not think that children have boundaries as well? Do you think that they're just like props in your little lives? They're not the people. They're little people, but they are still people, and they're growing and developing, and you have to teach them how to grow and develop. But that does not mean that you have to strip away every little sinew of their being, and yet you can do whatever you like because you need your boundaries. What if you are hiding something? We don't know that you're not hiding something. Maybe Mr. Hildebrandt needs to take a closer look at that shelf.
Can you please honor that? And if they go in and touch it, it's not a thing that I'm upset about because I'm trying to not disclose something. I'm upset because they didn't honor my boundary.
Yes, Jodi, but I would really question why it is you want that specific thing not to be touched. Not because it's not something to hide, but maybe it is. Maybe it is something that you subconsciously don't want your husband to know about, because there's got to be, in your own little warped little brain, there's got to be another reason why you wouldn't want that thing to be touched. It's never quite as simple as you make out, is it, Jodi? That's the way that you work in your little cult-like being.
So, and this is for adults. This is not for kids. You don't have the same rules, the the same movements, even though they're the same principles. Children are supposed to be learning the principles as they are growing and developing.
Oh, I've got one. Yes. Right, Jodi, here's one for you. What happens if an unprincipled mother, whatever that is, who was not brought up properly and is full of distortion and stuff like that, what if they what if they bring their kids up to try and be in this I forgot what I was gonna say now. Right. See, I was so excited about having an idea, and then it just it's gone. Right, Jodi, what happens if your brilliant parent, adult, because you seem to think that kids and parents are not on the same level, and I tend to agree in respect of they're not on the same level. Like, you've got to have parenting, and then the next level is your child who is learning from the parents, right? If you had them both on the same level, then obviously yes, it would be that would be a bad thing, right? So, but what I'm trying to say is, what if the parent is distorted and they teach their kid bad methods? How can you say that an adult is better than the child if the parent is distorted in the first place? That is my point, okay? Sorry, I took a long time to get round to it, but Jesus. It really wasn't a point worth making, was it? Sorry. Carry on.
And once they launch into the world, which means they're out of your care and custody in all ways, financial, emotional, they're completely
self-governing,
is cut, then they get to practice through a principled mechanism.
Okay, so once they leave home is the cut-off point in your minds, is it? So in Ruby's life, when you reached 18, that's when you kicked out of home. But what if they move back home? Do they then start under your little principled wing, or are they fully fledged principalists? And how does it work? How do you determine when they stop learning, when they can get that privacy? Because as I said, like, you get to 18, and what if you don't leave home? Are you still then not entitled to your privacy? Or when you leave home, you're allowed to do what you want, but if you move back home, are you then not allowed your privacy again? Or at what point then do you say, for example, Ruby, you lose all your functions, like when you're old, I'm saying, right? When you're like 70, 80, whatever, and your kids are looking after you, do you then become like the learner, and the kids become the teachers? I don't know. It seems very complicated to me, and that's all I'm saying.
Privacy, but it has nothing to do with secrecy. They do not mix.
Yeah. Well, the example that you shared about having a shelf in the closet that only your things go on, you're in a relationship, a husband-wife relationship, where you're equal, you're side by side. And what we're talking about today is about a parent-child relationship.
And once again, I'll have to point out to you, when you're talking about your husband and wife being side by side and your parent-child relationship, both of you are kind of struggling in both aspects, I believe. So I'm just saying, and I'm not trying to knock them or mock them or anything, but if you're going to be teaching this to others, like, it's kind of like a Dear Deirdre type scenario, right? but you have like the worst track record out of everybody, and you're trying to teach others how to be like good parents and how to have a stable marriage and things like that. You can't really do it because you don't have the experience of said good marriage and parenting skills.
This comment came in. So the premise is this mom wrote in and she found her daughter's journal. They were getting ready to move and they were cleaning out some drawers, and the mom was helping the daughter in her bedroom, and she opened a drawer and she found a black journal, and the mom didn't know what it was, and she picked it up, and then the daughter on the other side of the room flew over to her mom to grab it from her, crying and screaming, give that back. And the mom held it up and was like, whoa. She was alarmed at the reaction that the daughter was having. She's like, well, what's in here? And the daughter's like, none of your business. I want my privacy. Give me my journal back. And the mom said, I'm alarmed at why you're acting like this. Is there something I need to know that's in here? No. Just give it to me. It's just my private thoughts. Give it back. And so the mom said, I'm going to put this on my shelf in my closet. I'm going to address this later. I'm going to think about this. And the daughter went into sneaking around, trying to find the journal, sending her brothers and sisters to go look for her, bribing her mom, intimidating her mom, saying, I'm never going to trust you if you don't give it back to me, holding her good behavior hostage unless the mom does what the daughter wants. So
can you hear all the distortion in the daughter? And some of you would say, I don't hear any distortion. That's her right to her journal. And what you're not understanding is that the daughter is a child, and the daughter does not have a right to privacy. She has a right to safety. She has a right to be obedient, but she does not have a right to privacy.
Obedience? She's a right to be obedient. She's not a fucking dog. Seriously, you must obey me. No, they don't have to obey you. If you're an absolute twat, which, consider the source and everything, but obedience. Jodi, just stop talking.
And obviously something in that journal the daughter has fear around. And whatever is causing her fear is in distortion, because fear always is the driver of distortion. So that mom is needing to look and see whatever is in that journal to keep her daughter safe.
I'm exercising my right to disagree on this one, because fear isn't the only driving factor for wanting privacy. Embarrassment is also a very big factor in not wanting your mother to read what's in your diary. Because imagine that she's writing down her innermost, deepest thoughts. Imagine she's got a crush on a boy or whatever it may be. Why you just wouldn't... It's perfectly understandable that you wouldn't want your mother to read that. So, fear of being embarrassed, but that's it. That it could be the only aspect of it. So that person does not absolutely need to read their daughter's diary to find out what it is. I have already been through this particular video which they're referring to, so I won't go over it too much, but that's my perspective on it.
Yes, and the background as well, the year before, this teenage daughter, she was 13, was sexting with a 19-year-old. So there is a lot of history of distortion in this daughter as well.
Yeah,
leading up to this. Okay, so here is one of the comments. Children need their own privacy in order for them to feel trusted.
Okay, stop right there. Can you hear that? Here's that transaction. If you don't give me this, then I will not feel trust for you. We just got done explaining in the other videos of trust and then also of safety, that trust is about me. It's not about you do this and then I'll feel trust for you. But if you don't do that, then I'm not going to feel trust for you. So they are using this word trust in a way that is not even in the truth. You don't leverage, you don't use the word trust like a crowbar to get what you want. It's, I have trust, I use my agency to choose to be honest, responsible, and humble, and therefore I am worthy of trust, like you can trust me.
Wouldn't trust you with a barge pole, Jodi. But no, I think you're getting things crossed again. Your wires are crossed. I know you're trying to teach this in truth, principles, and whatever else it is, like distortion and everything, right? But it all amounts to the same thing. If you just think of everything in life as normal, I don't know. I know what I'm trying to say. It's not all in truth, trust, distortion crap, right? Just that that person, a child, can lose trust in their parents if you don't give them privacy. If you don't trust them, they may not trust you back. And that's not a transactional event as you seem to be thinking. No, it is just it's a human reaction. One person doesn't trust. If you do not trust one person, the other person does not trust you back. And it doesn't matter that one's a parent and one's a child. It's a one-on-one situation. And I think you're getting that confused.
Or I don't. So that very first statement is already off the mark. It's already off the path of truth.
Yep.
And she's got a whole paragraph of that.
Yep. Okay. Children need privacy in order to be independent and self-assured.
Another distorted statement. I have to have this in order to be self-independent and sure?
And self-assured. Mm-hmm. The only way a child can feel confidence and self-esteem and a sense of self is to be honest, responsible, and humble.
Right. It's an inside job. It's not you do for me and then I'll be self-assured.
If privacy gave children confidence, we'd be walking around with a ton of confident kids.
Okay, I'm going to give you this one little piece of advice. Both of you. If you just sit there, listen, take it all in. You talk about being honest and humble as the only way you can live in your truth and the only way that you can feel self-assured, right? But when you teach somebody to be honest and humble and everything, it comes from teaching them how to feel that way. And the way they feel that way is if you give them a slice of privacy, if you allow them to grow and build on their own. That way they get confident about it and therefore they become honest. And the way if you make them want to hide things from you, which will happen if you do not give them privacy, therefore they won't become honest. And that's just a vicious circle. So you're creating that yourself, really, aren't you? So yeah, that is our Jodi. That's our Jodi and Ruby inciting their lovely hate-filled community as per, basically. And I don't know what else to tell you. I think the reason why I chose this one again to talk about is because the level of insanity behind about everything that they say about the privacy issue, about the kids not having a right to privacy and not deserving privacy, and just they treat the children as objects, and kids are not objects. I do accept, obviously, that kids need to be brought up in a certain way and they need boundaries and they need stability and they need certain things. And no, you don't treat them as your friend and just allow them to run amok everywhere. But at the same time, you need to give them, particularly as they get older, you need to give them certain leeway in life, and they will blossom that way. I guarantee if you do it these ways, particularly as they have shown to be failures anyway, that your kids are just going to grow up wanting to hide things from you. And there you go. That's all that I have to say. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Please remember to give this video a massive thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. And if you want some more videos, subscribe. Take care until next time. Bye bye.